For the 8th time. That's the most Super Bowls played in any venue as we welcome you to Fulton Street at Caesars, New Orleans. And the crowds are picking up as we inch close. Well, it might as well be Super Bowl weekend already. With Ryan Clark, Booger McFarland, I'm Steve Levy. You know, there are two kinds of turnovers. We're not talking about apple or blueberry. There are takeaways and giveaways. Yeah. And you could make the argument the Eagles are here because of the way they've taken away the football in the 3 previous playoff games. 7 different Eagles have a takeaway led by Zach Bond's 3 of them.
Listen, Zach Bond has been amazing throughout these playoffs, but it's the entire team. This team is coached up to make plays. And when you watch the tape, it isn't just one guy. It isn't just one way. They're figuring out ways to affect you on all 3 levels. Here you're going to see Zach Bond. It's going to be a very simple zone drop. Now, this is a control route. Tucker Kraft is supposed to hold Zach Bond's attention so they can sneak the dig right behind him. Look at him read Jordan Love's eyes. He flows underneath the dig. It's an interception for Zach Bond, who had an all-pro season. That was a guy that was signed to be a special teamer. Here you see a mug look. So they're going to bring both Burks and Bond. What does this do? This singles up Nolan Smith Jr. on the outside. And Boog knows this. This type of speed, this type of power gets to the quarterback, and they're always ball aware. Another recovery for Zach Bond. Nakobe Dean was huge all year. Oren Burks replaces him. Here, there's 7 yards between him and Austin Eckler when Jayden Daniels is throwing this football. He doesn't just go to make the tackle. Look at the punch out, then the wrap. Jalen Carter, Zach Bond flowing to the football. Zach Bond with the scoop because Jalen Carter's a big man, and much like Boog, he couldn't pick the ball up and keep on running. When you look at this team and this defense, turnovers have led the way in the playoffs. They need to do that.
10 takeaways for the Eagles defense this postseason. Well, on the offensive end, this is key too. Not a single turnover. That's the most takeaways without a turnover by a single team entering the Super Bowl all time. So, Booger, as good as Philly has been taking the football away, this also is remarkable. The Chiefs have 1 giveaway in the last 9 games. So they can't let what Philly does get into their heads. They don't want to change anything here.
No doubt. They don't want to change anything. And this is not the old Kansas City Chief offense with Tyreek Hill, where they're throwing the football 40 and 50 yards down the field. They're going to matriculate the ball underneath, and this Philly defense is going to allow them to do that. It's going to be a lot of zone coverage, not giving up the big plays. And it's about situational football for Kansas City. It's about 2nd and medium, 3rd and short, red zone. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are not just killing, they are annihilating zone coverage. And so understand this, when you watch this Chiefs game, it's going to be about their ability to not necessarily dink and dunk, but it's going to be the 9, 10, 12 play drives. We're not used to that if you go back 4 or 5 years with the Chiefs offense. This Chiefs offense is trying to control the football. The big play, although they are capable, it's really not there. It's about understanding the zone coverage.
Well, doesn't it just feel like the Kansas City Chiefs are thinking to themselves, let's just get 15 to the end of the game.
Yes.
If we get 15 to the end of the football game and it's close, we know that our guys and our team makes plays.
If Mahomes has good ball management, they'll win the Super Bowl probably on Sunday. His 8th season will end in his 4th Super Bowl. That's 50%, guys.
That's crazy.
If Tom Brady, you win 10 Super Bowls if Mahomes plays 20 years, but we shall see about that. That's the story for now. SportsCenter's coverage of Super Bowl
91, Nick, when they beat Buffalo, if you tell any of us, hey, man, they're never getting back. It'll be 33 years, and they won't be there. We'd go, ha! Folly! What are you talking about? Hadn't happened. We haven't been back. And so when I left Arrowhead for the 3rd time this year, we were there for 2 Monday night and 1 playoff game. I'm at the airport and I see these young kids, and kids like 10. And I said, I want you to understand something. I realized later I'm like some junkie, like scared straight, but I'm like, hey, kid.
The greatest time of your life.
Hey, kid. It's never going to be this good again, and I want you to truly appreciate. Ask your parents; they'll tell you. And they're like, no, for sure. But I really feel, Nick, at Arrowhead, which is such a special place, that incredible fan base and the organization have guys like Reed and Kelsey that know it doesn't always have to be like this, but it is now. And it won't always be like this, but we're appreciating it. How much do you allow yourself the appreciation as a fan, not a broadcaster, but just as like,
is it? No,
man.
It is. So here is, I think Chiefs fans are in a very, if you're a lifelong Chiefs fan, it's a very unique set of experiences leading into Patrick that I think set you up to appreciate it, because they were a very, obviously they were great right in the beginning of the Super Bowl era, but now you've got to be 70 years old to remember that. Like, so just, let's say people my age, out anywhere in their 40s to 50s. We were really good in the 90s. Yeah. I think the Chiefs won the second most games of any team in the 90s. And then we really didn't have extended periods of bad. You had some awful seasons, but then they were really good in the 90s with Marty. Then they were really good with Trent Green. Mm-hmm. Then they got Andy Reid. Mm-hmm. But between the time when Patrick Mahomes took the field for the first time, they had won one playoff game in 25 years, despite 4 times having a bye. It was a fan base that knew, man, we could be really good, and Lynn Elliott can miss 3 field goals. John Elway can rip our heart out. Yep. We can play Peyton Manning and have 0 punts and lose. We can blow a 28-point lead to Andrew Luck. We can blow an 18-point lead to Marcus Mariota because he throws a touchdown to himself to take the lead. And so it wasn't what Lions fans are going through right now, precursor, which is we've never been anywhere good. This is amazing. It was we've been consistently in the mix without having a real chance. And so to go from my whole life thinking, okay, we can be good, but we're going to find a way. The first player ever to be taken out of a football game because of concussion protocols, Jamal Charles, in a playoff game that he wanted to keep playing in, but his head bounced off the turf as the Chiefs were going up 28 points. He went to the locker room, and all of a sudden Andrew Luck is fumbling, recovering it, scoring, and we're losing. And so to go from that to the exact opposite feeling, which is
inevitable.
Down, right, and inevitable before it was proven. I can't, no one will, people might not believe me on this. Before we had won the Super Bowl, when we had only won one playoff game with Patrick, we were down 24-0 to Houston. Yep. And I was sitting, I think, with Bomani, and I was like, not great, but I think we're okay. Like, it was just, and then when you do that, and then you're down 10 with 6 minutes left in the Super Bowl and win by 11, and then you're down 10 in another Super Bowl and win, down 10 in another Super Bowl and win. It is the exact opposite feeling. And I think the fans that is why these fans not only appreciate it, but are so, unhinged, my words, and I'm talking about myself, protective of the team, to where on the Sunday you're supposed to be appreciating that's the AFC Championship game. You're kind of irrationally attacking Adam Schefter.
You're seething. You're filled with unhinged rage.
Angry.
Yeah.
I hope the audience understands how much I appreciate and respect you and really like you, even though we don't know each other. I was so mad at you for picking against them last year. I'm like, he should know better. I was like, and so it is irrational. It is irrational fandom